Alright everyone, welcome back to Jojo 101, where we talk about everything and anything set in the JoJo's universe. Today we'll be talking about the genius with the Glock, the sharpshooter, Sex Pistols, number 4, hating Mista! Maybe Joe Bro, I don't know. I know it's a big debate in the JoJo's community whether Mista or Bucciarati is Giorno's Joe Bro. Personally, I'm more of a Bruno is the Joe Bro kind of guy. But I can see the argument that Mista is the Joe Bro. But we're going to be talking about old Guido here. So, as per usual, before we get into it, like and comment right now. And if you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification, Mista and his little Sex Pistols will come to your house. And Mista will give you his signature golden sloppy. I know, sounds pretty good. I've gotten it myself. Mista's just a bit shy. He doesn't want people to know about it. But if you want it to happen to you, all you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You know, simple as that. And if you don't, Mista will shoot you. So let's start where Mista's story begins, in my opinion. I mean, he does have like a life before this, but I think this is where his life really starts. So one night when Mista was merely just a 17-year-old boy, he was walking alone at night, and off in the distance he sees a man beating a woman in a car. And at first he thought it was just a simple robbery, but then as he got closer it looked a lot worse. So Mista felt obligated to interfere, and him and the man get in a fight, with him breaking the man's arm, and the injured man shoots Mista. And while like being shot, Mista is shot multiple times actually. And even after getting shot, Mista grabs the gun himself, reloads it, and shoots the man back, and is eventually arrested by the police. And he is sentenced to 30 years in prison. A certain man heard about Mista and his actions, and he took one good look at Mista and he was like, oh, this jit ain't gonna survive in prison. So he uses his gang's influence to change Mista's verdict to only 2. And Mista gets out, and while in prison, he undertakes Polpo's arrow test by the Black Sabbath, and gets a stand in the form of Sex Pistols. And Sex Pistols is a stand that manifests itself as 6 little yellow-like creatures that are all appropriately named 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Now you're probably wondering, where's 4? Well, that is Mista deeply hates the number 4 and sees that it is tied with horrible luck, and will not take anything that has 4 in it. He won't take 4 slices of pizza, cake, etc. He won't do anything if it has 4 in it. And the man that helped Mista get out of prison was one Bruno Bucciarati, who invites Mista to join his crew, which is the Bucciarati gang, which people call, which is a part of the mafia gang Passion. Passion is the big gang of Part 5, with people such as Diavolo as the leader, Polpo, La Squadra, Leaky Eye Luca, the GOAT. He's always your favorite verse. So, now let's actually get into the story of Part 5. But before we can actually dive too deep into that, we have one more pit stop, and that is the battle against the Rolling Stones. And so this is at the end of the Part 5 manga and anime, but in terms of the lore, this happens right before the events of Golden Wind start to really get in motion. So in the battle against the Rolling Stones, it is informed, Bucciarati's crew is informed that Leaky Eye Luca has died, and Bruno is going to go after the killer, while Mista needs to go after this one guy who seems to having trouble with a florist, or a florist is having trouble with somebody mixed up with his daughter. And it turns out the daughter was killed. She committed suicide, and the florist is like, no, my daughter wouldn't do that. And to go avenge his daughter, he gives Mista his life savings to go kill the ex-boyfriend. And upon doing that, it's this whole thing where Mista and Bruno and Fugo, they encounter this stand called the Rolling Stones, which is like this stone that predicts life. It predicts how you're going to die. If it shows you your phase, you're going to die. And the whole big thing about Rolling Stones is that it predicts Bruno's death at the end of Part 5. Spoiler alert, by the way. I'm not gonna talk too much about this arc. I'm honestly not a big fan of this arc. It's one of my least favorite arcs in all of JoJo. So now, without any further ado, we can actually now move on to the main story of Part 5. So, Mista is, like I said at the very start, Mista could be considered the Jobro of this part. And now you should just go on to say how important Mista is. Mista plays a big role in almost every arc in Part 5. But he doesn't really do anything until the battle against Sale, or Sale. I think it's Sale. But Sale has the stand Craftwork, which it can manipulate kinetic motion and stop things in midair. And it's a really nice fight for Mista. Like, this was a very good fight. It's very good. Part 5, let me just go off the record and say, I'm not a big fan of Part 5. Part 5 is honestly my least favorite part. But I will give it some credit. Part 5's fights are really good. This is just one of the many good fights that Mista specifically is in. Because Mista is in a lot of good fights. But the reason Sale is attacking Mista is because Sale and his partner Mario are going after Pulpo's treasure, who at this point in the story, Pulpo is dead and they're looking for his treasure. And as they find the treasure, they get a new mission to protect a woman named Trish, who is the leader of Passione's daughter. And yeah, basically, they gotta protect her now and get her to her father. So here, now we move on to what is considered one of the best arcs in Part 5, and that is the Trend of Florence, or the battle against Prosciutto and Pesci, which, this is my favorite Part 5 arc. I really like this arc, despite not being the biggest fan of Part 5. Basically, Prosciutto and Pesci, they have pretty cool stands in the form of Ungrateful Dead and Beach Boy. Well, Bruno is really the main character of this arc, but Mista plays a big role in fighting both Pesci and Prosciutto at one point, but he basically makes them go fight Bruno later on when he can't fight anymore. I think Mista starts fighting Pesci first, then it goes over to Prosciutto. He finds out the weakness with ice, where being cold helps against Ungrateful's dead technique, which is aging people. And Sex Pistols is flying all throughout the train, informing Mista, checking up on everyone in the turtle, or Mumbo Jumbo, informing them, like giving them ice, etc. So without Sex Pistols, the game probably would have died here, honestly. After that, Mista is pretty quiet, because I'm pretty sure after that, the next arc is Babyface against Malone. But after that, it's very understandable that Mista sits that arc out, because next up is the battle against Giacchio. And it makes sense because this next arc is a banger, because Mista and Giorno will be fighting Giacchio, which another amazing fight in Part 5, where Mista and Giorno encounter one of the last few members of La Squadra with the stand White Album, and that is Giacchio, who has the ability to manipulate the temperature around him and usually freeze things. And I can't really do this fight justice. This is an amazing fight, and the IQ plays is just amazing. They fall into the ocean gets froze, it starts in a car. Really, I don't want to spoil, like, if you don't know this fight, go look it up on YouTube and go watch it, because this is nice. And at the end of this arc, we also get probably one of the best Part 5 scenes. And after that, Mista kind of takes a back seat for a while, because now they realize that the boss, Diavolo, is a bad guy and he wants to kill Trish. And for the next arc, where, the next few arcs, he's kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. He doesn't really do anything in Squalo and Tiziano's attack. At the start of Notorious Big, he kills the stand user of Big. So that's something. And we see him finally come out of retirement for a bit against the Battle of Chiolaka and Secco, where he helps Giorno shoot down the helicopter, and Giorno does the 7 manga page beatdown later in that fight. And at the very end, he is seen alongside Trish, Giorno, Bruno, Narazia against confronting Diavolo, where he gets swapped into Trish's body and Trish gets swapped into Mista's body. where their stands also swap. So Trish now has Sex Pistols and Mista now has Spice Girl. And for this last arc, Mista doesn't really do much other than try to shoot Silver Chariot Requiem and try to shoot Diavolo. But hey, it's the effort that counts. And at the very end of Golden Wind, where Giorno becomes the head of Passione, Mista is shown alongside Mumbo Jumbo with Polnareff inside of him, where they're the only three survivors of, well, Trish also survives. I don't know why I forgot her. But that's another thing. I would have liked to have seen what Trish is doing at this point. But Mista's final appearance, he's seen alongside Giorno, helping him, like, probably assisting him with the mafia, like, business or whatever. And he basically is now wearing a color swapped of his usual outfit. Same with Giorno. Like, Giorno's, like, outfit is now black at the end. Mista's is, like, this purple and white, I guess. So, that's something. But yeah, that is it for Mista. He also plays a role in Purple Haze Feedback, which I don't know anything about. I might read that once it gets, you know, novelized here in the West, because that is coming this year in 2026, I think. And he's in a lot of games. He's in Eyes of Heaven. He's in All-Star Battle R. Even though in All-Star Battle R, I do think he's a little mid. His assist is kind of cool, though. Oh, actually, one thing I did forget, and I do apologize for this. I almost forgot to talk about his stand, Sex Pistols, even though I kind of just mentioned it. So, Sex Pistols is 6 little yellow guys. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Basically, they all have their own personalities. I think it's 4. No. Is it 6 or is it 2 that is, like, the one that is, like, always scared? I think it's 6. I do think it is 6. But the ability of Sex Pistols is that they can control bullets. They can also, like, one ability at a time, basically. Bullets, they can manipulate bullets, where if Mista shoots a gun, a Sex Pistol can kick or hit a bullet, and it will be redirected. And they can also hide in Mista's revolver, and upon hiding in the revolver, they can reload the gun faster and make it shoot stronger. So I do apologize for that. I didn't forget about Sex Pistols. Sex Pistols is a really cool stand, you know, I like the Mista. But that's going to be it for this video of JoJo 101. I kind of panicked and didn't know who to make a video about. It was originally going to be a Bruno video, but I decided to go with Mista last second. So if y'all do want to see a Bucciarati JoJo 101, let me know down in the comments. If you want to see anyone be discussed in JoJo 101, let me know down in the comments, and there's a good chance I will do it. I know I got some people want. I know I've been requested Josuke Part 8 and Aka Howler, which is just super unfortunate because I am not finished with Part 8 and I haven't even started Part 9. But if you're watching this, whoever commented, I will make Josuke Part 8 one day. Promise you, and Aka Howler. I'll make them one day. But until then, I'll see you all in the next one. Farewell.
Vocal percussion on a whole nother level, coming from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level, coming from my mind.
追ってくる仲間の名前とスタンド能力を答えねえっつうんならよ。